Thank you for tuning in to another episode of our Friday show. I'm Dave Kluge, and I'm here with Stephie Smalls. No surprise here, but we've got some more awesome guests coming at you to kickstart your weekend. I'm joined with the BallBlast co-owners and self-appointed superhumans, which I saw in your bio, Kate, and really love that. Kate and Michelle. So Kate, Michelle, why don't you let everyone know what you got going on right now? Any opportunities coming up? I know you just hired some amazing new people, so I'm sure we'd love to hear about that as well.
I just learned that my wife calls herself a superhuman. So.
Am I not? Debate it. Like,
I don't know how much longer that we will be called wives.
No, try to debate that. No.
You are a superhuman.
I am actually a superhuman.
I think you're a superhuman, Kate.
Well, first of all, congratulations to you guys on all of your new adventures. You guys are absolutely crushing it with your new opportunities. I'm so excited. I love to see everybody like level up in this community. It's such a cool place. We're doing cool things over at BallBlast Football. We just hired 3 writers who are absolutely amazing. We've got a really cool team over there, a really motivated team who's just so pumped to talk about fantasy football, which I love. We hired SFB Victoria, Matt McCoy, which a lady, she is the first lady that ever applied to work on our site. So I'm so excited that like finally have more estrogen around.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's absolutely incredible. She's amazing. we have so many talented people with our team.
Don't forget Derek Overby.
Don't forget Derek Overby, of course.
But we also have a huge other massive team of writers that would be a much longer list. But go find all of their work over on BallBlastFootball.com. And she made the site, and that's probably why she's calling herself a superhuman, because the site that you see, it's all her, and it's pretty awesome.
I am not a web designer. I'm not a web designer. I'm a nurse by trade. So like this, not only am I working, I am. I worked in pediatrics. You didn't? This is my second career.
Oh my gosh, I love you more than I did. What the hell?
I worked as a nurse for 6 years. I actually just quit my nursing job to work full time in the industry in October. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So everybody, it's possible.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It is
it's
possible.
Awesome.
Long, hard road, but we're all striving to get there eventually. And then obviously I want to introduce Stephie Smalls for anybody who doesn't already know her. Stephie, why don't you go ahead and tell anyone what you've got going on right now?
I have a bunch of stuff going on. First of all, thanks for coming on. Seriously pumped. These are 2 females that I've stalked since I had 200 followers, like super creepy on their pages for a very long time. So this is very exciting for me. And I'm laughing because you said level up. And today I sent Dave a screenshot of Sierra's song Level Up, and I said, what does Stephie, Dave, and Russell Wilson have in common? So where am I?
True.
That was whatever. So FTN is my new thing. Today we decided on some content. I won't go too into it. I want it to be a little bit more of a surprise, but there'll be some breaking news stuff, some more video content that I'm getting out, and then I'll continue with my stuff. Matt McCoy, that you guys just hired, is my co-host on Thursdays at Fantasy Team Advice. I love working with him. He's someone that definitely gave me an opportunity before I maybe deserved one, and I owe a lot of my success to him. So I love that. Victoria is another one of those chicks is just absolutely crushing it. So, and even Derek, you guys did a great job. So yeah, just FTN. I shouldn't make that a thing. Sorry, Elliot, if you're watching.
Yeah, those new people that you brought in are absolute rock stars. When I saw you listing everybody in that announcement, I was like, wow, like BallBlast just did an awesome job grabbing 3 of the newer people in the industry that have really been making some waves and pushing out some awesome content. So congratulations on that. So for today's show, as usual, we're going to get to know the guests a little bit. We're not sitting here to dive deep into the numbers. We want to, look at the human side a little bit and get to know Kate and Michelle somewhat. So we're going to talk about that. And if time allows at the end, we do have some free agency talk. We'll see if we can get to that or not. But because it is Women's History Month, I'd love to talk about a little bit about what it's like being a successful woman in this industry. And I've got 3 right here that have done that and have done an absolutely amazing job. So first, before we get into that, though, I want to talk to you guys. I know you've been married for about 2.5 years now, right? I feel like it was about 5 or 6 months ago that I saw your anniversary post. All right. So how quickly after you met did you guys realize that you shared this crazy infatuation for fantasy football? I don't know the story. I mean, maybe you guys met through the fantasy football community. For all of our viewers, I'd love to hear the story.
It's the opposite of what you think it's going to be.
It is the opposite of what you think it's going to be. I'm so excited.
Yes.
It is so far in the opposite direction. So I was a normal human at one point, and I'm not anymore. I'm like part of this gang now. But I was a normal person with a normal life, working a normal nursing job. And I met Michelle. We met on Tinder, for anybody who doesn't know. We're defying all the norms. We got married from Tinder. We got second jobs in a new industry. You can do all these things, keep crushing it. But so we met right at the sort of tail end of football season. So I never saw Michelle talk about football. I knew her family.
Well, no, I did. Okay,
not really.
This girl didn't watch any football, so we started dating. We started talking in the January timetable, and there was a big game on. I think it was the end of December, January. There was a huge game on. It was the Bengals-Steelers game. It determined the playoffs. So I went over, and I was like, hey, can we watch the Steelers game? And she's like, sure. And she couldn't get it on the TV. And I was like, okay. This is going to be okay.
We didn't have cable. We had, an old-school antenna where you have to, the bunny ears and stuff. So
I played it off. We did not watch the game. I played it off. It was fine. She didn't realize my severe obsession with football until the next season. And then it was too late for her to leave me. So.
Yeah, it was the home opener. Oh my God, it is Fever Pitch.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Oh my God. Mind blown. I love that movie so much. Drew Barrymore is my favorite person in the world. It's literally Fever Pitch. So it was the season opener. I know Michelle's super excited for the game. It was a Thursday night game against the Patriots. And I'm like, oh my God, babe. I took the next day off work. I spent the whole day cooking. I made this whole layout of food. I was like, we're going to have so much fun. And it was a terrible game. The Steelers lost
to the Patriots. I mean, it was the Patriots opener, and we lost 40-0. It was a terrible game. So I was a miserable person.
I heard Michelle yell in ways I'd never heard her yell before. I was like, so you're a football fan?
And she was like, I don't know if I can handle this. I'm like, well,
you're okay, psycho.
Yeah. Yeah, but she figured it out. And then the very next season, you became obsessed as well and started fantasy football. And I got her into my brother's league. And she did all this research before the draft. And
she told her brother, she's like, her brother has very high standards. Hi, Luke, if you're watching, you're terrifying. He's a terrifying human. He's like, you need to be top notch if you are going to be in my league. And Michelle's like, oh, she's great at fantasy. I'm like, I don't watch football. So I literally spent the whole summer just researching fantasy football. I didn't watch football even yet. But I drafted really well, and I think I went to the playoffs that year.
I think you won the first year, which is pretty embarrassing for all of us.
I'm just that obsessive, but I just got addicted and I kept watching football, and then it kind of just spiraled.
And then she got better than me at it, and now I regret showing her this game.
Well, hey, I love the Tinder story. My wife and we met almost 7 years ago on Tinder and just got married this summer. So it does happen. There are a lot of good stories out there.
So much shit about this. You guys just totally crushed that narrative.
No, Tinder is a beautiful thing. You can find the special someone out there. So you guys started BallBlast, and since it's been around, it has become one of the most reputable and fastest growing sites out there. So there's a very competitive industry. There's a lot of websites. So I'm going to give you guys a quick minute. What is your pitch as to why people should use BallBlast as opposed to the other sites? What are you guys doing that sets yourself apart from the competition?
Oh, Kate.
I think
I'm just going to hand that one off.
Besides the amazing web designer.
Thank you. Besides the superhuman person that's like semi co-owning it, besides that,
are you like stalling so you can think of your answer?
No. What sets us apart is that we're honest. I'm sorry, Twitter is an industry of groupthink. So is mainstream. I'm not going to toss down any like competitors because I use all of these websites, but it's chalky. Everything's chalky. And the backlash, like I think the first episode of Backlash was, I predicted the Derrick Henry breakout. And I said, my projections placed him as the running back 2, and you should have seen. I was blown up on Twitter. It was the worst. Like I had to take a Twitter break because people were being so mean to me. It was really terrible. And he ended up actually being the RB2 that season. So I freaking nailed it.
So was that back in 2018? That was the first year?
Yes. And he did it. And I think from there, we just realized like something that we're doing differently. Obviously, we're 2 women in the industry, but also we're just being honest. And I'm not going to give you analysis with the grain just because that's the easier thing to do. If I, agree with the grain, great, fantastic. I'll tell you that. If I don't, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I agree with you when I don't.
Yeah, people are only happy if you copy and paste the leaderboard from the year before. It's like the leaderboard, copy and paste your rankings next year. If you don't do that, then you're just looking for attention and you're looking for hits.
Yeah, but
I know. It's so frustrating.
That's a space.
That's what everyone says. So we kind of ignore that, and it's like, let's get ballsy. We give our ballsy takes, but we always back them up. So we're never just throwing out takes just to throw them out. We have a ton of evidence to back it up. No, it's not always going to hit just like everyone else, but I think we have a pretty decent track record with that. And we always have a good process behind it. So we feel good about what we're saying.
Yeah, you got to trust the process.
That's what we encourage our writers to do. We want, even if there's an anti-Zach Moss article, we will still post it as long as you back it up.
But you guys do a good job picking people to surround yourself with too. I think that's one thing is you guys are not just hiring writers to hire writers. I mean, this is obviously something where I have not talked to you guys about this, but you're vetting them. You're looking at their stuff. You're making sure that there's someone that really fits that brand and fits that, what you guys are building over there. That's definitely something that from the outside looking in, I've noticed.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that is key. And bringing out people that believe in your brand is also absolutely key, because if they believe in your brand, they're going to work just that much harder, be that much more excited to help you, because we're still like very small. Like we're still trying to grow and get ourselves out there. So we need people to join our team that's like pumped to grow it with us. And I think we found that.
So is this a call for help right now? Or are you guys about to get, overrun with applications as soon as this is over?
No, we're through our hiring process at this point. But
yeah, so I'm like the gung ho. I'm very, very aggressive. I like to pursue ideas. Thank God. So we co-own the brand. We started the brand, but eventually we merged with the Red Shirts fantasy football team, and now they are co-owners with us. Matthew Betts and Matt Okada. Yes, they're fantastic people. But thank God for them, because if it were up to me and them not keeping me grounded at times, like I would have hired, we got 30 applicants, which is so crazy for the point that, or the little thing that we put out. And it was so hard. I was like, I want to hire all of them. I want like all of these people.
Kate would have hired all 30.
And it's good that we have, it feels like a really good yin and yang relationship. And we've found a nice balance, because honestly, it probably wouldn't, I don't know. I love everybody and I'm so enthusiastic and I love fantasy football and I just want to, I don't know. I love it.
I'm excited to see these new teammates that you guys brought on. I'm excited to see them start contributing, because, I've seen them on some guest spots here and there, but I'm really excited to see what they do underneath the BallBlast umbrella. So that'll be very exciting. So, I just want to address something here. It's obviously no secret that there is a big lack of representation for women in sports. And that's something that we've seen changing over the last couple of years, which has been fantastic to see. But I'm lucky enough right now to have 3 of the strongest women in the industry right here. So I've got a question that I'm going to ask to each of you, whoever wants to start it off. But, men want to be allies and help out. So what can we do in this industry to help support women in a positive way? Whoever wants to start, just go ahead and shoot from the cuff here.
I actually think, so I really love the Twitter community right now. I think we have a lot of guys out there just that are building us up, supporting us equally, and that's fantastic. Like, we have to just ignore the 1% of douches, if I can say that on here. Like, that's not the norm. I will say there's still a group of guys who will be supportive, but then this is my biggest pet peeve about working in this industry as a female, because I don't think we get it that bad. At least in the beginning, we got a lot of those stupid comments about staying in the kitchen, and you'll get stupid comments here and there, but it's not that bad. It's what bothers me the most is your personality on Twitter. Let's say you're not the nicest at all times, or you come back strong, or you have debates. The female's always the bitch. We come off as bitches. Well, everyone else, I'll say 95% of the guys are talking that same way, acting that same way. There's some super, super sweet, nice guys on there that don't do that. But they can do it, and they're awesome. They're cool. Everyone trusts their analysis. They just come off strong.
Guys,
but we do it and we're asses.
Guys can debate, but women argue. And that's my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah.
We're sensitive.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Or we're sensitive. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's something I've noticed. So I'm happy that you brought that up, because that's something that I have completely noticed. People aren't even willing to debate. When you guys try giving a differing opinion, a lot of times it just immediately goes to putting people down, and there is no sort of constructive debate. So I'm glad that you guys were able to bring that up.
I got told I had a sweaty forehead. That will save my head forever. I laughed out loud because it's really funny.
Because that's the weirdest insult ever.
It was from my profile picture, which has been up forever. I'm like, I have not heard that. It was from a wedding, so I may have had a sweaty forehead. But I was like, okay, that was very random. But it's whenever I say anything bad about Joe Mixon, I get the worst of it.
I don't know. I feel the narrative on Joe Mixon has started to flip, and I feel like nobody's brought it back to you. You were the original. You were the OG.
No, but so last year, if I said that he wasn't going to be a top 5 running back, it was clickbait. She hates him. It's no, he's just not a top 5 running back. At least fantasy running back. It's not that hard, guys. Come on.
It is. I think
I'm over here conducting the Joe.
Super supportive.
Yeah, I'm conducting the Joe Mixon hype train, and I'm hopping back on it for 2021. But it's one of those. I know I'm setting myself up for hurt. He's burned me for 4 years in a row now, and I can't quit him. I'm going back again. So let's expand on this topic just a little bit that we had just brought up. I'm just wondering, outside of being told you had a sweaty forehead, is there anything else, any specific instances that you've had to deal with, just so me and the people in the audience can just understand a little bit more with some specific issues that you've had to deal with being a woman in the industry?
I think honestly, like Michelle said, we had such a fantastic reception overall in this community. Mean at first, but I think once we sort of established ourselves, people were really open to the idea that we were women in the industry, and it's been fantastic. In my experience, I spent time with Roto World. I'm with DraftKings now. They really are looking to try to set the bar to a place where they're evaluating people on their staff for the content instead of for the fact that we want to hire a woman. It's more I genuinely feel like people are getting pretty good about that. But honestly, I think the biggest thing is just getting not necessarily our community used to the idea of women in sports. It's getting the rest of the universe. We are 1% of 1% who just talk about fantasy football nonstop. It's the rest of the people out there in the world that need, more exposure to women in sports.
Yeah, and you start seeing that a lot when a post blows up or goes viral or something. You're like, oh my God, this is what it's like outside the positive echo chamber of Twitter. Like, this is the real world, huh? And it's a lot different than what you get from the industry people and the content creators. But Michelle, I know you were about to say something.
Yeah, you were asking before, like, what can you guys do to like help women in the industry? I think the biggest thing would be if you know of any friends that you have that are females, ladies, whatever we want to call them, and they're into sports, get them onto Twitter or get them involved in writing, like just like, I guess encourage them if they want to do that, just to come join us, because we need more ladies. We need more people on our side here, right?
All right. Does somebody want to give a quick pitch to my wife, because she's the commissioner of her hometown fantasy league.
Coming on Twitter, she doesn't know yet.
I think she's a little bit scared.
She
a little bit should be.
It's scary. Those Twitter streets are disturbing. It's definitely some disgusting behavior that goes on. But I do agree that it's, a lot of the men that I've met, and Dave is one of them. Dave will be a lifelong friend, from now until forever. This will be one of my closest friends. And I love that, because for so long I didn't have men in my life that, respected me and appreciated me for my footballness. I don't know what else to call it. We're gonna call it footballness. But really, it's so easy to get, it's so easy to brush over a female just because she's talking football. And I think that, I don't know where this idea came about that you have to have a penis to know anything about, your football knowledge doesn't come from your penis, it comes from your brain. That's how it works, because it's a brain, and it has nothing to do with the fact that's whatever is in between your legs. But going on from that and not being teased, it's also really, and one thing that I can't stand and I deal with a lot is being super sexualized in this industry. So it's very easy to get, taken advantage of. And I've had opportunities that have gone sour because that they're using me just as a female and not as a female who knows her shit. So I take confidence in the fact that I'm a female that knows my shit. I don't back down. And this is something with Michelle and Kate that even you guys have helped me tremendously dealing with these trolls. Sometimes it's hard because you have so much passion and you just really want to defend the females. I just want to fight to my death. Linda and I are always I'm just out there trying to make sure that we don't, you have to stand up for yourself, and it's hard sometimes. And there was times that were really dark for me in the beginning that I would get, DMs that were disturbed, so rude and so hateful. But if you're able to get past that, there's way more better people than there is bad people.
Yeah. I'll say, the longer you're on Twitter and the more you can weed out those people, Twitter gets better. So I used to be just like you, fight back, fight back, fight back. There is no winning. There's no beating a troll. It's not happening. They're there to be a troll. That's their only goal. They're messing with you and they want to get you upset. They want to get you angry, and it works, right? Yeah. So the best thing ever is muting them so they don't get the benefit of the block button, because then they're like, oh, this person blocked me. Mute them, and then it goes off your timeline. You don't ever think, I forget about them in 2 minutes. I instantly feel better, because they do, they get underneath your skin, and it's so irritating. So when I see a comment that I hate right away, I mute. I don't even give them the benefit of commenting, because once you comment, then your whole Twitter people see it, and then they come at them. Don't give them that entertainment. Right. Don't give them that outlet.
And even I'll even share, it was last week you guys both the two of them put me in a DM, were listen, okay, you need to reel it in right now. You're losing your shit on Twitter. And
no, I wouldn't say that was we wanted to help. We wanted to help.
That's awesome. And that's what I mean from it. And it's no, I'm telling myself, because let's be serious, I do have a tendency to get a little fired up. But I appreciate that. And I think it's also females supporting females. And it's not always the easiest thing. And there's a lot of, I think we deal with it on both ends too. It's very easy for there to be this jealousy and this cattiness when it comes to being females in the industry. And I see that a lot. So when you're able to just support another female and respect what she does is huge too. So I won't put it all on the men. It's not all on the men by any means, because I have dealt with plenty of scenarios that comes down to me being in a situation with another female. It's not necessarily always men, but is it mostly men? Yes, of course it is. But but really, I mean, I think that being a supportive female to each other is one of the biggest things that you can hone in on in this industry. That's why I've
only ever had to block one female. I've only had, like, the whole time on here, I have quite a few blocks because I'm like, no, like, you don't deserve my free content if you're an ass. Like, it's that easy. Like, I put a lot of work into this. It's free content. No, you don't get it.
Right, yeah.
And I'm sure they don't care. But also, I've only had to block one female.
But I will say, like, I think the biggest takeaway out of all that is, you know, it's super hard because I still deal with this stuff. And sometimes Michelle still talks me off ledges where she's like, don't reply. And I'm like, but
and she still does sometimes, and I want to slap her. Don't reply.
I told you, I need like really solid anchors to hold me down.
That's why I was so happy that you reached out to me, because like I would have, I mean, that day I was in a place where I was ready. I was gonna fight the war of female that day. Like I wasn't having it. But it's easy to get tunnel vision and to really be like, no, you don't get it. And I'm getting better. I mean, that mute button is something that I'm learning to use and to hone in on and realize like you can't change that person's, they're in, you know, they have tunnel vision too. And their tunnel vision is to make you feel a certain way and to put you down and do whatever creepy shit they want to do. And sometimes you just have to block it out. So the mute button has been a beautiful thing for me lately.
And there's been a term thrown around on the internet for 15 years now, but it's because it stands so true. You just don't feed the trolls. If a troll is coming at you, any reply, whether it's a like or just anything, even if you try to refute it with fact, all that's doing is giving them fuel to keep going. So yeah, I mean, that's really the best thing you can do is just mute, move on, act like it didn't happen. I think you guys are doing it right. I mean, I've seen people come at you guys before, but I've never once thought that you guys were in the wrong, you know, poking the bear. It's always been you guys kind of in a defensive stance that I've seen a few times. What I do want to ask though is what is something that the average, whether it be a consumer, fan, content creator, anything, what can they do to help make this industry a little bit more inclusive to everybody so it doesn't feel like it's just something that men are playing fantasy football? How do we make sure that anybody that wants to play fantasy football is able to join this and feel like it is inclusive and welcoming for everybody?
I think it's all just about exposure. Like there's a project that I've been working on at work that I hope to get off the ground soon to just sort of help expose more women in sports to not just people in sports, but it just doesn't feel like the norm. And I feel like it's sort of ingrained in our brains, like sports, men, done deal. But I think that it extends to women too. Like before I was in this industry, I sort of thought, before I watched football, I just thought football, men, done. And that was just sort of like my brain, because I didn't have anybody in my life that really cared for football that much. And as I grew to like love the game, I was like, oh my God, I start doing research. Almost 50% of NFL fans are women. And guess what? This is a billion dollar industry. And you only have 20% of your players that are women. That's like, even from a financial perspective, if you don't care about equality, you should be tapping into the women market, because guess what? There's a lot of money to be had there. I'm just saying. I think it's just all about like changing the mainstream ideas. It starts with all of us, and then I think just radiating those ideas and that welcomeness and all that stuff into the rest of the community is the best way to do it.
And like inviting us to be in leagues that aren't like guys versus girls, you know, like why can't we just be in normal leagues? Like it doesn't have to be guys versus, we don't have to prove ourselves, right? Like we shouldn't have to be like, oh, the women have to beat us to prove us. Like stop it. That's
like literally stop.
And that's so many of the times when I would get the invites. It's like, oh, we're doing a guys versus girls league. It's like, why don't you invite me when you have the guys league, but a normal league, you know, when it's 10 guys, like, you know, you can invite a couple women to play, right? Like that's not going to hurt you. Like if they know what they're doing.
And it's from I don't think it's generally like, it's not from a bad place. It's from wanting to like include women. But sometimes as a female in that whole, you know, just being in those invites, it's like, well, you haven't hopped in my DMs to join any other leagues that are just leagues.
Right.
Yeah. But okay.
I will say my favorite league is a league called Chicks vs. Dicks, and it is 6 vs. 6. But we were all friends. We were all in the group, so now it's like competition. It's not, and I'm in leagues with a lot of the same guys. It wasn't like we built it on like, hey, we're inviting you because we just like want to have this competition. Like that's not, I don't know. It's yeah, but I'll say stop doing that and just invite girls to play in your leagues.
So go ahead, finish your.
I want to hear what's.
I do my spiel.
You do your spiel. I really had
the thing is, and I talked about it a little bit the other night on my show with Matt, is I don't hold resentment towards men that, I think it's very instilled in us from a young age that, pink is for girls and blue is for boys and sports and football is for boys. And this is just how we were raised for a really long time. And that's okay. And I get that. But you need to be ready to change your mindset and change the way that you're thinking, to be more inclusive, to be, to have an open mind and realize that when you look at it, times are changing and it's a really old mindset now. Now we're reaching, this is 2021. We're not talking about the 90s anymore. This isn't the 80s anymore. Things are different now, and to be open and to be inviting and to just realize that it's actually kind of cool that girls are getting involved and want to show that they like football and want to be a part of everything. And I think a lot of it comes down to mindset, and for years too. And I think that when I started getting my following, something that I really tried to do is, and everyone will notice, I'm not super analytical. Is it that I don't understand the analytics and I don't look at the analytics? No. Guys, I love the numbers too. I'm going to hate on them in public because I want football to be inviting for females.
Yeah.
I want females to want to get involved. I want football to be something that we all enjoy together, because even years like this, right? With COVID, it's a shitty year. So why don't we all just use something like football and just shut up and get along and enjoy, we can all enjoy the sport. It's not really that big of a deal. Who has a
yeah. And I will say a lot of so I am analytics and film. I do enjoy digging into the numbers and I'll post stuff. But I will say one of my biggest pet peeves is when someone has an opinion or someone has done the research different ways, and then someone will come with their process and post 30 graphs that they did and be like, you're wrong because this is my process. Like, that's a really fast way of getting people to not want to interact, especially, yes, be more welcoming. Like, that's your process. That's great. It doesn't mean it's right. Like, relax. No one's looking at your 900 charts when you send them over.
When I have a point and then you tell me, oh, here's the number, and then I end up being right, you idiots. Like, that's the thing. Like, you end up being wrong. Like, so
it doesn't matter because it was an outlier. That's what they can say for every single one. And it's just like, oh my God.
It's always an outlier.
It's always an outlier, so it doesn't matter. It's like, okay.
There's always a number for something.
It's just, so I think that's a big thing too. It's like, let people have their opinions and have some fun with it. You don't need to throw your 30 graphs on there. Like, that's your process. That's cool. I have my process. And I really, really try not to write on people's stuff when they like do this big thing. I don't go throw my process onto it. I'm like, well, this is the research I found. Like, no, the research I found is for my site and it's for my people. The research you found is for your site, for your people. Like,
and be respectful of that. Like, it's okay to respect the fact that I am a huge film nerd. Like, that is where that's how I do my analysis. I look at what I see and I tell you what's up. Like, I don't really give a shit what the numbers say because I'm telling you that that's not what I'm seeing on film. Will I use numbers to back me up? Yeah, but that's my process. I'm never going to judge someone by the way that they're making their own analysis. An opinion is an opinion.
And consumers want to have consumers like to have, they're going to choose the site that they want to go to because of the content that they're creating. So somebody that wants to go deep into the numbers is going to go to Numberfire or a website like that is breaking everything down analytically. And then people that want something that's going to be a little bit more, film grinding, and somebody that's just talking more process of football and stuff like that, they're going to go to a website like Football Guys. So you've got to stick true to what you believe in and what you like. You don't try to tailor your content to appease somebody that you're not trying to get in your audience. You just make the content that you believe in, and the followers and the audience will come.
Yes.
And I'll say the biggest thing is people don't understand, like, my content's not for you who is also putting in 40 hours a week in fantasy football. Like, It's not for you. I'm not trying to change your mind. Or not trying to teach you. Like, you already
my roster, bitch.
Yeah. But, like, my content is more for the people who are trying to learn, who are here to digest my material, who are looking for fantasy football stuff because they're trying to learn and get better at it. And like, that's my audience. It's not to change the mind of someone that also does this. Like, awesome. So when you come on with your process, it's like, okay, like, then you're just trying to like take my followers, I guess, which is fine. Like, you could do that. I don't know. It just irritates me. It's like, I'm not trying to change your mind. You have your process. That's fine. Now leave me alone.
Yeah, I think that's just the key, is just respecting one another and realizing that football is a game. Like, first of all, we're playing a game that it's literally a guessing game. Like, literally a guessing game. So like, respecting the fact that like, yeah, we are all coming at this from different perspectives. We're all utilizing different tools. I mean, even just like in terms of the access to tools, like there's certain information that's not available to everybody. There's expensive subscriptions that not everybody has the access to financially. So just realizing that we're all coming at this from different knowledge bases, different backgrounds, I think is just.
And what
so
makes
huge.
it so obviously she says guessing game, like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of it comes down to luck in certain ways, because there's so many injuries in the NFL. There's so many different team situations where it's like, okay, sure. Even though when he has 30 carries a game, he still gets 10 points, but sure. I just do not like that, man. But the injuries, the team situations, there's the coaching, there's so many things that go into it that we don't know what's going to happen. We can't predict injuries. It's really hard to predict the team situation because it changes so much. The line can be good one year, terrible the next. Like, it just goes up and down. The coaches can be all over the place. Bruce Arians, one game loves Ronald Jones, the next game hates him and loves Leonard Fournette. One guy like misses a block, he's done for the game. Like, you can't predict these things.
And that's the thing is, I'm so happy you said that this is a guessing game and luck, because really at the end of the day, not a lot of people are willing to admit that, but we have our process and we do what we think is best. It's not like we're going out there purposely trying to dupe people into drafting somebody that we know is going to be a bust. Like, that wouldn't be beneficial for anybody in the industry. We're using the tools that we have and the process that we have to try to guess as best as we can. And I mean, I'm only going to bring it up because you're hanging it up over your head like a badge of honor, Michelle. But yeah, I mean, you were huge on the Zach Moss hype train, and your process was there.
Yeah.
All right, and I love to hear that. But your process was there. I had so many shares with Zach Moss last year because you were so convincing in your argument, and it was a bulletproof argument that you had. And there were some factors that came into play that nobody really expected, and it is what it is. But I'm not going to, disregard you as a fan.
Josh Allen became a superstar.
Exactly. Who saw Josh Allen completing 15% more of his passes?
Who saw them throwing the ball 100% of the time and never ever running?
Who saw Stephon Diggs leading the league in passing?
Okay, whatever.
Exactly.
I am going to brag really quick. I did call the Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs thing, and I have them in multiple leagues. I'm just saying it's fine.
And what I'm saying is,
I'm a Josh Allen fan. I didn't see that coming though.
Yeah, but and everyone has their process, and you were convincing, and you had a absolute bulletproof argument. There was no hole that you could really poke in what your argument was, and that's how it should be. If you could make a strong argument for a case, that's the best that you can do, because at the end of the day, we can't read a coach's mind. We don't know how players are going to get injured. We don't know how weather or what's going on in somebody's home life, how that's going to affect the game. So we do the best with the knowledge and the information that we have available. Let's move on a little bit. So a lot of women have made it in the sports industry. Obviously it kind of started with seeing people on SportsCenter, but over the last couple of years, we've seen females playing in the NCAA. We've seen NFL referees. We've seen team executives, and a lot of women taking on very prominent roles in the industry. So is there anybody you see right now that can end up in a position like that? Somebody that you're keeping your eye on that could be the next big superstar female in the NFL industry?
Oh, damn.
Oof. Well, I feel like we're sitting among one of them. Steph, you're killing it. Like, you need to keep doing what you're doing, because it's a tough grind, and to get through that initial, it's kind of like running through a brick wall. Like, it's going to hurt at first, but once you run through the brick wall, like you're gonna be like, oh my God, I just ran through a brick wall. Like that's pretty cool. Like that's what it feels like. And you've gotten through that brick wall, even it like sometimes it doesn't feel like you have, but you have. Yeah. And that's such a huge part of that. But like to make it with FTN, like just what you're doing is incredible. So keep that up. I'm going to name one other person who I'm just like so excited about, but know that you're a part of that group.
No, please.
I'm so excited about Victoria. Like,
yes.
So excited. I'm so excited we brought her on. The second I read her article, she wasn't published with any site, which is bonkers. I don't know how, like, people weren't just knocking on her door and like forcing her to write articles. I don't know what that would be about, but as soon as I read her article, I was like, this is like refined analysis, and I loved it so much. And I've just been so impressed with her attitude and willingness to just get your hands dirty and dive into literally any task that you want to do. Like she's coming up with great ideas and super excited. So I think she's got like such good vibes and such good energy that is honestly the most important thing. You can be accurate 100% of the time, but if you don't know how to convey that information in a good way, it doesn't matter. Or like if you don't know how to, like, let's be honest, it's partly about entertaining and all that stuff too. So like, I think she's a up and comer. I need to find
one
her.
more I want to say. Well, you can say her at if you want to.
FFC _ Victoria.
FFC _ Victoria. One more I want to name is Stepmom Lauren. She's been killing it for a long time. So, but at Stepmom Lauren, if you do not follow her, she is a killer woman in this industry. She writes for The Ballers. She writes for Fantasy Pros. She writes for Roto World. She's a good friend of ours. Just killing it. Absolutely killing it in this industry. She's a little bit more quiet on Twitter because she doesn't get into all the drama. She's smart. That's the thing. She's smart. Yes. We're stupid. We drive ourselves crazy. She kind of stays out of all that drama and just puts her head down and kills it. But she's brilliant. She has live shows all the time. So go listen to those. And you will not regret it. And she's a blast. She would she would be drinking some Tito's with us right now, but I'm going to cheers to her. She's not listening, but if she was, she's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, she was on right after me yesterday too. And she's Lauren is great.
Lauren is awesome. I know she was just added to the Fantasy Pros team last year, and she's done awesome things over there. She is killing it. And then, like you said, you just shouted out Victoria, but Victoria is somebody who really rose through the industry without a team. She was just doing it completely on her own. And now that she's teamed up with you guys,
which is so freaking cool. Like that's the coolest way to do it.
And I admire that because what is happening to Victoria, I relate to very much so. It's like this, very unintentional, just passion that I think that people buy into. I think that Victoria is one of my favorite. She is such a kid. You guys got a rock star in her. And I admire the crap out of this girl. I think that what she is doing, it kind of reminds me of myself, but I don't want to ever compare my own journey. As everyone knows, I love to say love that. But I think that Victoria, she hones in on that, being authentic and not sticking with the grain all the time. And she, she's awesome. And she knows. I connected with her when she was kind of figuring out, like, she's getting a lot of offers. What do I do? Do I go here? Do I go there? And that's a stressful time. But I think for someone to be aware of, you want to find the right fit is awesome because she's I admire the crap out of her. I could go on for days about Victoria. I think that on my list, you guys nailed them. It was the only other one that I would give a shout out to is Linda. I think that Linda, she 100% runs under the radar. This is someone that is such a genuine human, and she's so raw in everything that she does. And I love the unfilteredness about her. And I think on Monday, right? Yeah, March 8th, the speakeasy is going to drop of Linda and I. Linda took that over, and she's going to be, showcasing a bunch of females in sports. And that was supposed to last for 30 minutes. We were on there for over an hour. This is such a cool human that just She can talk. She knows what's up in football. She doesn't give a shit if you like it or not. And she's a fighter for women. She's a, girl mom, which is badass in itself. So that's another one. You guys nailed it with Stepmom Lauren. She's someone that was probably one of my first female follows. And I was so excited because it was someone that I admired, once I started taking this leap. But Victoria, 100%, I think she doesn't understand exactly how much potential she has quite yet. But she is definitely someone to keep your eye out for.
And once the show is over, what I'll do is once the show is over, I'll put out a quick tweet that has all of these women's tags in there, so it's nice and easy to find them. So you guys will all be able to find.
There's so many more. Like I wish we could
you guys
have
are
them
on my
all.
list. Like I did write down names, and you guys basically stole them all, except you didn't say yourself. So
no, yeah, we're not good.
Yeah.
She does call herself a superhuman, but she's not.
I just knew that I made the website, and it was very hard.
It is
Many
hard.
sleepless nights, guys. Many sleep. WordPress is a bitch.
Elementor? Do you see Elementor in your sleep? Like when if you guys watch the Queen's Gambit where she's like laying in bed watching the pieces, like I feel like that's me with Elementor in my head, like just moving things around.
That's literally what it's like, and I'm glad finally I said to somebody, I don't remember who it was, but I was like, God, if we ever make it as this big fantasy site and hire.
What are you talking about?
No, but if we ever imagine the day that we're hot enough stuff that we have some web designer come in and redo our website, we are going to be fucked. They're going to be like, what did this girl do?
No, I love her. So we're not
I'm sure I've screwed up all the coding along the way, but you know what? If you click on the website, you can go to different articles. So I guess that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So I want a quick peek inside the life of Michelle and Kate. You guys are obviously very competitive. You wear that on your sleeve almost as a badge of honor. So over the last 2.5 years, you guys have been playing fantasy football and all this. What is the biggest football related, I don't even want to use the word fight, but just the biggest football disagreement that you guys have had over the last couple of years?
I'm thinking of one. I want to see if it's the same one you're thinking.
Really?
Of. Yeah.
Is it OBJ?
Well, I laughed. You guys crack me up because you're always posting stuff like, what happened? You put your phone in the fridge or something?
Okay.
I actually do know one.
I was grabbing a yogurt.
There's only been one time she's actually gotten mad at me, where it was come on.
I cried, and I'm not a crier.
She never
me neither.
She had a couple.
I cry.
She had a couple tears. It was ridiculous. So it was in a playoff fantasy game, and we were in a league together. It was all girls in this league. Her team was much, much better than mine. I squeaked into the playoffs. It was not a good enough team to be in the playoffs, and her team was a million times better than mine. But it was the first week of the playoffs. We go up against each other. Darius Slayton goes off.
Darius Slayton.
I
had Slayton. And I ended up beating her by 1 point, and she was actually really mad at me. I was like, I can't, I don't know what to do with my TV.
But I had the most elite roster. It was not this past season, it was the season before. I had Julio Jones, Mike, I built the superstar squad. I had Chris Godwin, I had Derrick Henry, I had every fucking stud that you could have ever pinpointed. And I won or lost because of Darius Slayton.
Well,
that was his one breakout game.
I must have had some other good people that did.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir here, sis. Okay, so Darius Slayton is the thorn in my side after this year. This guy sucked, and then he just would randomly. Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
Yeah,
and then he randomly ruins your life.
Yeah,
that was the fight I was talking about.
Corey Spalla, it be like that sometimes.
Yeah,
doesn't matter what you do. Sometimes it just be like that. So speaking of competitiveness, Kate, congratulations on the verification on Twitter a few days ago. Michelle, what's going on with yours? Have you reached out to Jack yet? What's going on with that?
Michelle's pissed because she got this girl into.
I know. That's why I had to bring it up.
And that is so savage.
When she sent me, so she was on a live stream when she saw it. So she sent me a text of it, and she's like, "Look what just happened! Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Oh shit!" So the first thing I did was go check mine, of course, and I did not have a check mark, and I'm not going to get one. So
how does it happen? How do they announce it to you? It just pops up.
It just popped up.
They have Twitter, like they're verified. They have a Twitter verified account, and I got a pop up, and it was like Twitter verified just followed you, and I was like, oh shit, it's happening. But it happened. I was literally like, I had one screen up that had like, the just Twitter and Slack and all that stuff. And one of my coworkers who also we got verified because we work with DraftKings and Vox Media, because they like their people to be like official. And so they get the opportunity to submit names for verification every so often. We just happened to be in that bunch. Like, I didn't know that was coming, but I'm on this podcast and I'm talking about something like it was a rookie that I was talking about, and I'm in mid sentence and I got a thing with a screenshot that was like, oh my God, Kate, it's happening. And then I was like, oh my God. And I had to keep talking. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life because I was so excited. And then I sent the screenshot to Michelle. Her first reaction was like, what? No, you didn't see the check mark. And I was like, girl, look harder.
I didn't see it at first. I thought she was saying something about her profile, like her bio or something.
I always put office quotes in my bio. Yeah. So like when I change it, I'll like.
I didn't see it at first.
No.
Good. But I was very excited for her.
I almost flipped out. I mean, I messaged you like the second I saw it. I was like rubbing my eyes, like, what the hell? Is this serious? I messaged you right away. I DM'd it. I was so pumped to see that because, these are the little things and you want to wrap it back to what we've been talking about. It's like you getting verified is like the coolest thing that could ever happen because
I didn't even watch football 7 years ago. Like that's
so badass. Like, it's so cool. Yeah.
And now you've got tens of thousands of people taking your advice on it. Life really does come at you quick, doesn't it?
You guys are really rubbing this into my face. It's fine.
Oh, you're gonna get yours.
I'm sorry.
Soon.
Your day will come, Michelle. I promise you. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, I wanted to thank you guys so much. We had some free agent questions lined up, but we the way the show typically goes on Friday, we end up getting off the rails and all over the place and don't always have time to finish the entire show. But I had an absolute blast coming on today. Before we sign off, Steph, thank you so much, as always, for co-hosting. Michelle, Kate, if you just want to let everyone know where they can find you on Twitter, obviously Kate with the checkmark next to her name, she'll be really easy to find. No, I'm kidding. If you want to let everyone know what's going on with BallBlast, where they can find you on Twitter, and just let everyone know what's going on before we sign off, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, you can find me at BallBlastEm, BallBlastEM. And once you're on my Twitter page, you'll see everything else. You'll see all the articles. You'll see all my work right from there.
Wait, we didn't even shout out the fact that you got a job as a researcher with NFL Network. Why didn't you shout that?
What?
Wait, what do you mean, guys?
Wait, no,
I've been working for the NFL
Network.
What are you talking about?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've been doing it since September. Yeah, I work for NFL Network. Yeah.
I barely get to go through my thread because I'm sorting through the dick pics.
I was like, wait, how did we just not?
I didn't even talk about it. Why
it.
would we talk about it?
Because you're a badass.
Thanks.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I work for the NFL Network. It's awesome. Yeah, it's a bomb-ass job.
It's awesome because when
NFL
she was teaching me about football, we were sitting on the couch and we were watching NFL Network, and Michelle's like, oh, this was probably like 5 years ago. She's like, I would love to work for the NFL Network. Too bad it's never going to happen. Well, you cash in checks from the NFL, girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Once again, it comes at you quick. That is awesome. I had no idea.
That's so cool.
Well,
I apparently need to make it bigger in my profile.
You do. I'm so proud of you for that.
I mean, that's something I'd have like tattooed across my chest, like NFL analyst. Like I would be wearing that with pride.
That's literally what you need to do. You need to shout it out.
I'm going to just get it right here, NFL Network.
Well, thank you guys so much for your time today. This show was an absolute blast. Be sure to tune in next Friday at our normal scheduled time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Steph and I are going to be hosting Matt Harmon with Yahoo Sports. I'm absolutely thrilled to have Matt on the show. He's somebody that I've been a huge fan of for a long time, and it'll be awesome to get to sit here and chop it up with him a little bit. And we are ready to sign off. I'm Dave Kluge.
I'm Stephie Smalls.
And thank you for tuning in to our Friday show. Have a good night.
Bye.